Hello, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. Last episode, we launched our first flyby probe of the moon, and then we further flew that probe to Minmus and landed it on Minmus.
Oh
So I think our
man.
obvious next step here is going to take a landing on the moon. Let's see, we've got land on the moon, unmanned probe mission,
Uh-huh.
science data from surface of the moon. We will be able to complete that at the same time. We will be doing first Kerbal in space very soon, but not right now. And then we'll be doing manned returns from orbit of Moon and Minmus very soon. Crewed landing and return on Minmus. I guess we have that available because we've done a probe landing on Minmus now, but we haven't done a probe landing on the Moon yet, so we don't have a crewed landing contract for the Moon. So let's take a look at this craft that we landed on Minmus. Is this thing also capable of landing on the Moon without any further engineering? That would be really convenient, you know? So we know it's got the Delta V for it, that's for sure. Let's look at the Moon vacuum. What is my TWR on this ant-powered state? 2.2. It's a little low, but we can work with that. Technically, anything above 1.0 would be fine for a landing, but the lower it is, it gets kind of harder to control it precisely. And for ease of control, I would like it to be around more like 4 to 8, somewhere around there. But we can work with 2. So we can just take this guy off as is, without doing any further engineering. Let's start our experiments. SAS on, throttle up, open my displays, launch. We're out of the atmosphere now, so we can ditch this fairing and deploy our antennas. We've barely got any delta V left in the stage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to point us right at the horizon and burn the rest of this fuel out. Then we'll get rid of that lower stage. Point back prograde. And let's time warp up a little higher. Okay, we're about 10 seconds from apoapsis, so I'm going to start burning here. It may be a little late, because this engine is a little low thrust. That's okay. We're watching periapsis, and we want to bring it up to somewhere in the 80s. Anywhere in the 80s is fine. There we go. We are in orbit. As always, we're going to orient ourselves so that the solar panel can see the sun. So we don't make any mistakes with charge. 97 is close enough for me. Let's set the moon as a target. And we'll do our little eyeball method just to estimate that maneuver node should be roughly here. The eyeball method, FYI, is looking where the moon crosses the horizon. That's about where you want your maneuver node to burn towards the moon. We can kind of adjust it around a little bit and maybe get a little closer. I'm just watching this periapsis marker and just playing with the settings here until I bring it in close. I would be real happy with like 30 kilometers, I think. There you have 30 kilometers. So let's time warp to that maneuver node. We're going to face the nose of the craft towards the prograde marker, which is this blue guy, or not prograde, the maneuver marker, which is this blue guy. We have an estimated burn time of 44 seconds, so we want to wait until the node is 22 seconds out. Cut that in half. Fire engines. Using physical time warp here. If you don't know how to trigger physical time warp, you hold the Alt button at the same time as you push the time warp button. That forces it into physical time warp instead of non-physical. I'm going to switch to the moon's SOI here. It's just so we can sort of nudge this thing in a little more precisely because we can zoom in and see what's going on. 25.9, perfect. Still have 400 delta V in this engine, or in this stage. That's going to be enough to circularize at least. I think it's only 300 delta V to circularize at the moon. Whoop. Be careful, by the way, when you're time warping on a flyby, because you go a lot faster down here than you do out here, and it's easy to overshoot. Put a maneuver node. This is going to be our circularization burn. Should be just about right when you've got AP and PE on opposite sides. Warp to maneuver node. Little close there. I expected you to cut the warp sooner, but that's okay. Rotate to face retrograde, which is also the maneuver marker in this case. Fire the engine. There we go. 21, 27. Looks good. Now, the thing we forgot about when we were landing on Minmus is that we do want to have a connection back to Kerbal, the place that we're landed. So if we want to land on the daylight side and with a connection, then we probably want to land somewhere in this area. We'll aim for that on the next orbit because it looks like we've kind of passed our opportunity for this one. So for the moment, let's get that solar panel back towards the sun. 87 is close enough since we're not really doing any science now, so we don't have a big power draw. So where do we want to pick our landing zone at? Kind of like the idea of this crater thingy right here looks special. So I'm going to point us in the anti-normal direction, which is not this triangle, that one's normal. It's this one. That's pointing downwards. So if we do a burn there, we can pull the orbit down to pass over this crater. It only works, by the way, because we're 90 degrees out from there. If we tried to do that here, it would not change the orbit here. Okay, now let's target retrograde, and this will be our deorbit burn. Let's turn this guy on again so we can see an estimate of where we're going to be landing. And we'll slowly bring that in. I'm going to put it like right out on this outer edge here. That. Biome is called Twin Craters, apparently. We've got 14 meters per second left in that stage. Lovely. Okay, then. I'm going to get rid of this stage because it's basically empty anyway. I'm going to orient so this solar panel is facing the sun. And let's time warp a little bit to get closer down there. How are we looking here? I think that looks fine. I can't see the craters yet over the horizon. I think they're probably right in this area. Estimated burn 2 minutes. We're a little late for that because we have an estimated impact in 80 seconds. So let's go ahead and point retrograde and start burning. Now what that's also going to do is it's going to pull this landing marker in this way, which is why I originally targeted it out at this edge. Impact in 1 minute, burn 2 minutes. That's a little uncomfortably close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to face us the nose a little bit up, which puts the thruster facing a little bit down. and that'll give us some upwards thrust to keep us from landing as soon. And we're going to try to bring these markers, these timers, closer together. So you see the impact timer is slowing down now, and even increasing a bit, while the estimated burn marker is still going down. I think this is the twin crater. Yeah, there's that canyon. So this is the twin crater that we're trying to land in right here. So our marker's probably off in this area at the moment. It's just too small to see because it's so far away. Do a little more time warping. Oh, there it is. Down there. It's down there. I'm going to throttle the engine way down now because our impact is after our estimated burn, which means we need to do less thrust. Here's a question. Do we want to land on this shelf here? Let's go for it. So I'm going to go into manual control instead of pure retrograde. Do a thrust like this. Bring us over there. Now let's go surface retrograde. Remember, your marker needs to be in surface. And we can watch these two. I want to bring them basically together, and then I want to throttle down to 2/3. And we're going to continue to throttle down as we come down. We don't need that marker anymore. Just watch these. Watch your surface speed. Maybe I should have put landing legs on this thing. That might have been smart. We're going way too slow now. We're still being 60 meters in the air. Don't forget that parallax does make rocks that we can bump into. Don't want to do that. I guess we're just balancing here by the reaction wheel. That's cool. Contract complete for landing on the moon. World's first for landing on the moon. For this contract, we still need to transmit data. Let's turn these experiments on. The versions of these experiments we had running before were the ones on the upper stage that we dumped. So I'm just going to time warp until some of those complete, and that'll do our next contract. Contract complete. We are done. We still have 850 delta V in this thing, though. It takes about 600 to get to orbit. So if we went to orbit, we wouldn't have enough to do another landing. But what we could possibly do is a suborbital hop to a different biome. And that would get us more science. I think that's probably the most reasonable thing for us to do at this point. And we may want to do that to... Let's go up into this area, maybe. So we're going to hop and take off towards the west and aim to get up here, which will be... I don't know what biome this is, but it's probably not twin craters. There's somewhere in here is going to be the line between twin craters where we're at now and possibly midlands or lowlands or highlands, who knows. Fire up the engines, turn about 45 degrees towards west. Now let's watch our marker. Effect biome twin craters. I suspect this crater might be a new biome too. This might be midlands and this might be midland craters. Okay, we got lowlands right now. Lowlands are fine. I'll take lowlands. Let's turn retrograde. And we'll time warp a bit. Physical time warp. There's our landing spot. Impact 22 seconds, estimated burn 16 seconds. The engine's on. A couple of rock piles here, but we're landing in a pretty clear looking zone, it looks like. So it should be safe. It is slopey, but Apparently our reaction wheel can hold us up just fine. There we go. Touchdown Lowlands. Let's time warp right here until we finish our science experiments again. Now I'm going to do that same thing again. We've still got 650 delta V in here. And see if we can find Midlands further up the slope. I'm guessing somewhere up in here is going to be Midland. Yep, that's Midlands. Time warp, turn retrograde. And after this one, I'm going to aim for this crater, because I think that's going to be its own biome as well. There's our landing zone. Impact 18 seconds. Start the engine. This parallax mod really does help the improve the looks here. If you're used to the looks in stock KSP, you'll know what I mean. Let's I don't want to land in that rock pile. It's a little rougher than I would have liked for a touchdown, but it works. Let's do science. Do this whole rigmarole again. Can I stand up like this? Do I have reaction wheel power? Yes, I do. So we're going to take off and then aim towards south, which is 180 degrees. And I'm going to try to pull this marker into this crater and hope that this crater is a new biome. I think I saw it pass over this crater when we were on our initial landing, and it called it Midland Craters. Doesn't seem to be the case here, though. I'm just getting Midlands over the whole thing. See, how much do we have left? 323. There's not much I can do with 323. What if we turned east? I'm thinking about seeing if this canyon is a special biome. I actually have no idea if it is or not. Nor do I know if we have enough delta V to actually make it there and land safely. Nope, it's still just twin craters. Well, let's see if we can land there. We may not, but it's not going to make a difference either way. Because it's not new science here. This will be the last attempted landing for this probe. May not work because we're pretty short on delta V now. We may run out and then just crash. You know, actually, maybe that's what we want to do, to destroy this. I'm going to turn the engine off and just let us crash here to destroy the probe. There we go. Mission complete. Let's head back to Space Center. Alright, we're up to 1.2 million space O's and 287 science. We've pulled off an unmanned probe landing on both the Moon and Minmus. I think next time we'll start looking into putting a Kerbal in. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.